Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2014 Ford F-150 FX4. Up front is a 5.0 liter V8, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this F-150 because I think this era and generation of F-150 is very, very interesting and very important to the overall story of the F-150, because this generation, known as the 12th generation of F-150 or F-Series truck, was a crossover era to what we see nowadays and in modern traffic. However, there's still touch points of the older, more legacy vehicles. And so today, we're going to be talking about that blend. This is an HVAC truck, so we'll talk about some of the oddities that come with that. It is still being used as one currently, so we have plenty to mention here in the F-150 FX4 review. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 5-liter V8, better known as the Coyote V8. Well, in this configuration and for this year, it makes about 360 horsepower. Now, there were plenty of engines offered here in this 12th generation F-150, and that's kind of why I feel like it is a crossover year. There's other things too that we'll touch on, but originally you could get this generation with the modular V8, either a 2-valve or a 3-valve, the 4.6 liter Crown Vic motor, or you could even get the Triton 5.4 liter V8. Both of those are very outdated. However, this 5 liter is still in use today, so that's why this is kind of walking between worlds. This is also the generation that they started using EcoBoost engines, something that we see a lot more of today. So the engines have it very split on new and old, but this leans a little bit newer. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic, does the job, no complaints. Last but not least, the FX4 is 4-wheel drive. However, they did make an FX2 that would have been 2-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the F-150 FX4? Well, this one is a little bit different because it probably has about 600 pounds worth of tools in the bed. So it's a little bit slower than normal. However, I've always liked the way that F-150s drive and feel. No weird beep, squeaks, or rattles. There's nothing you really need to know about the F-150 and how it drives, other than the fact that it's a truck, it works, and I don't have any complaints. Visibility is decent, and ride quality is actually pretty good with that payload in the back. I assume it would ride a little bit harder without it. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 6 gauges and a screen. Off to the left is my tachometer. Up in the center, we get oil pressure, coolant temperature, fuel, and transmission temperature. And off to the right is the speedometer, and then we have that customizable gauge screen down in the center. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as we have our cruise control options. And off to the right, we have volume, skip track, media, and phone. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, headlight switch, as well as our gauge dimmer switch. Don't often see the gauge dimmer switch as a rocker switch that's horizontal, but you find it here in the F-150. And moving out of the door, we have our power mirrors up top, power locks, and power windows down below. Moving into the center, we have a button for our hill descent control, as well as our traction control off, and then we have our touchscreen infotainment. So this is the standard infotainment. We have phone, navigation, climate, and entertainment. Really nice to see all of that. However, the heated and ventilated seats are ran through the screen itself. And my apologies, they're actually cooled seats because they use AC. Ventilated is just a fan, cooled seat actually pumps cold air. This again is a crossover era where in today's F-150s, everything is ran through the screen. They were starting to migrate some features to the screen back here in 2014. To the left of that infotainment, we do have our 4-wheel drive settings as well as our rear locking differential, and down below is our trailer brake adjustment. Off to the right of the infotainment, we have a 12-volt outlet and a little cubby. Down below, we have our CD player, eject, and hazard switch. We have the volume and tune knobs. We have driver and passenger temperature, so dual zone climate. We have all of our climate control buttons down here for fan speed and where to send it, as well as our number pad with media. This is outfitted with Ford's sync system as well, and we have a little cubby down below. The shifter's off to the left. You can plus minus on the side if you want, as well as you have your tow haul button. And off to the right, we have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the F-150 from 2014, and I'm happy to announce that it does in fact pass the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do get a center console and the seats. The seats are leather, heated, cooled, power. Love to see them, love to be in them. And this is an FX4, which was a higher trim level outfitted for an HVAC truck. Most HVAC trucks are gonna be like XLs or maybe XLTs, so they're not gonna have the niceties of this vehicle, but this is a one size fits all kind of truck. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later on, but you get to see that with the nice comfy seats. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2014 Ford F-150 FX4, and a couple of things to note. First of all, knee room, amazing. Headroom, amazing. Amazing back seats. I really love the space back here. Obviously, as you could tell, Ted uses this also for his family. He has a daughter as well as two twins, not conjoined. And so he uses this as the family hauler, and he could do that. It's a work truck and a family vehicle because you have so much space back here. You get the power windows, get cup holders, get your own vents, as well as a 110 volt, 150 watt outlet, and a 12 volt outlet. This is where, you know, trucks started to get bigger on the inside. These four doors are really something special, where if you go back to the 90s four doors, they're not as swimming pool sized, if that makes sense. And now the modern F-150, I mean, you could swim laps in the second row, which is very nice to see. So very, very good space around the back. It really can do it all. It can haul the tools and the family. We already talked about the family. Let's talk about the tools. Another transitional thing about this year of the F-150 is that this is the final year before they switch to using the aluminum bed. So you got your steel right there. Coming around the back, we do have doors to open up this bed cap. And of course, we have plenty of tools. Ow, that just hit me in the tummy. I'm gonna sue you, Ted. I'm gonna sue you for my injuries. I'm just kidding. This is a topper, obviously, and this is the 6.5 foot bed. This is the longest bed you could have gotten with the four doors. So with the four door, you could have gotten a 5 foot or the 6.5. This is the 6.5. Obviously, we have all of our ladders and tools and whatnot back here. So that's what the inside of one of these caps looks like. There we go. And then we also have openable compartments on the side here for tons and tons of tools, goodies, parts, things like that. So very, very neat and very useful. But again, you can haul the family on the weekends and you can go to the job site on the weekdays. One of the lovely, lovely features of this particular F-150. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I don't think that this truck or this generation is my favorite looking F-150. I think they kind of look a little blobby, a little here and there, not super truck-like, still sort of the Jelly Bean era, or you could still see where the Jelly Bean era has its hooks in the F-150 with that roundness, not quite as square as the modern F-150. So I don't love it, I don't hate it. I'm not going to bash something on its appearance because I know I'm not one to talk. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 2014 Ford F-150 FX4? Well, I really like this truck. I think it is pretty good. It's not my favorite F-150, and nothing in here like definitely speaks to that. I like the 5-liter V8, and I do like the fact that it is stepping into this modern era, or at least the current era that we're in now with that 5-liter. It's good. It works. I like that it does have nice features. The FX4 is really worth it with the cooled seats and the trailer brake adjustments. I like that it's 4-wheel drive. I think it rides nice. I like the sunroof / moonroof. I like the back seat space. That's nice to see. That's a nice feature to have. So overall, am I loving this? Am I gonna go home and tell my family excitedly what I drove today? Probably not, but it is good and it's solid. And we need trucks like this to step into the modern era. We wouldn't have the the F-150 we have today without this necessary step. And this being a 2014, this is the final model year of the 12th gen. This is the last year, as I mentioned before, the aluminum bed. So it's really cool just to see that transition. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ted for letting me borrow his F-150 for today's video. Ted is absolutely awesome. I've reviewed over 24 cars from him. He's a wonderful human being and always a help to the channel. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.